Building a brand new gaming PC these days is out of reach for a lot of people. Prices for RAM, CPU, motherboards, and of course GPU are just insane. But that doesn't mean you can't build a solid gaming PC on a budget. The only difference is we're not using brand new parts. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to build a budget gaming PC using only used parts from eBay. You can also check places like Facebook Marketplace or Amazon, totally up to you. At the core of this build is an HP Office desktop. There are plenty of options on eBay, but in my case, I'm using the HP Elite Desk 800 G1SFF. These typically go for around $50 to $100 on eBay, depending on the configuration. So let's break down the pricing and take a closer look at all the parts used in this build. Well, last time I picked up this HP Elite Desk 800G 1SFF on eBay for just $49. I turned it into a personal Netflix server for home use. But today, I'm done watching movies. I want a game. So now we're upgrading this thing into a real gaming PC. The problem is, the current specs are really weak. It's running a Pentium G3240 in 2 cores, 2 threads, and only 4 gigabytes of RAM. That's nowhere near enough for gaming on Windows, but this machine actually has a lot of potential. We've got 4 DDR3 RAM slots and 2 full-size PCIe slots. That's a lot of room to upgrade. Since it's using the G3240, that means we're on the LGA 1150 socket. So it supports all 4th generation Intel CPUs. For decent gaming, we need at least a 4-core CPU. There are some solid options like the i5-4570, i5-4590, or even the i7-4770. But I'm not going with any of those. My pick is the Xeon EE31241 VE3. Sounds familiar, right? Yeah, it's basically identical to the i7-4770 in terms of specs and performance, but without the iGPU, which makes it cheaper. And honestly, that's perfect because we're going to use a dedicated GPU anyway through the PCIe slot. So for this build, this is easily one of the best choices in terms of price to performance. And the price? Just $18. That's insanely cheap. Alright, CPU is done. Now let's talk about RAM. As you probably know, the RAM market right now is kind of crazy. Prices have gone up 3 times, even 4 times compared to last year, especially for DDR4 and DDR5 due to high demand and limited supply. But DDR3 hasn't been hit as hard. Prices have only gone up slightly, and you can still find used DDR3 at very reasonable prices. I managed to grab these 2 8GB sticks for just $25, which is a great deal in the current situation. That gives us 16 gigabytes in dual channel. Perfect. Now let's move on to the most important part for gaming performance, the GPU. This system is an SFF, small form factor, which means we're limited to low profile cards. And on top of that, the stock power supply doesn't have any PCIe power connectors. So to stay within budget, I'm going with the Quadro K1200. 4 gigabytes of ROM. I picked this up a few days ago for $30. It doesn't require external power, and it fits perfectly as a single slot, low profile card. As you can see, it sits in there nice and clean. Love it. For storage, I'm just reusing a SATA SSD I already have, with Windows and a few games pre-installed. But if you don't have one, you can easily find a decent SSD on the used market for around $30. Most of them still work perfectly fine. Just take your time. Do a bit of digging, you might land an even better deal. And there we go. The system is up and running. CPU-Z is showing everything correctly. We've got the Intel Xeon EE31241 V3, an HP proprietary Q87 motherboard, 16 gigabytes of RAM running in dual channel, and the Quadro K1200 with 4 gigabytes of RAM. Alright, everything looks good. Now it's time for the real test. Let's see how this upgraded machine actually performs in games. First game, Minecraft. At 1080p with 8 chunks render distance, everything runs insanely smooth, close to 400 frames per second. Nothing to complain about here. When I push it up to 32 chunks, the CPU starts working a lot harder, around 70 to 80% usage with temps hitting about 80 degrees Celsius. FPS drops to around 200, but overall, still a very smooth experience. Then I turned on shaders at 8 chunks, and yeah, this is where the GPU starts to struggle. It's maxed out and FPS drops to around 20. Next up, Counter-Strike 2. At 1080p on low settings, we're getting around 60 to 70 FPS. The GPU is fully utilized, but the game is still playable. Switching to medium settings, visuals look better, less aliasing, but performance becomes unstable. During intense fights, FPS drops to around 30 to 40. Not the best experience. Now, Cyberpunk 2077, and yeah, you probably already know how this goes. At 1080p on low settings, the GPU is clearly overwhelmed. We're getting around 20 FPS, sometimes even lower. Shooting feels off. Input lag is noticeable. Overall, not a great experience. So after these 3 tests, it's pretty clear. The bottleneck here is the Quadro K1200. It handles lighter games just fine. But once you step into heavier graphics, like Minecraft with shaders, CS2 on medium, and especially Cyberpunk, this GPU just doesn't have enough power. Alright, time for another upgrade. I'm replacing the Quadro with something much more powerful. The GTX 1066 GB from Galax. I picked this up for just $79, which is a really solid deal right now. This is a proper gaming card from NVIDIA, with 1280 CUDA cores and 6 GB of GDDR5 VRAM, more than enough to handle most modern games at 1080p. It has a TDP of around 120 watts. And luckily this system comes with a 240 watt power supply, which is just enough to make it work. But there's a problem. This case is SFF, so there's no way the GTX 1060 is fitting in here. And on top of that, the power supply doesn't even have a 6-pin PCIe connector. Alright, no hesitation, time for a new case. Honestly, the old case wasn't exactly gaming anyway. I found a used mini tower case with dual glass panels designed for micro ATX boards. Super cheap, but it actually looks pretty decent. Now for the 6-pin power issue. To keep things budget friendly, I'm not replacing the stock HP power supply. Instead, I'm using a SATA to 6-pin PCIe adapter. Pick this up for just $7. In theory, a single SATA line can deliver up to around 75 watts. Add another 75 watts from the PCIe slot, and you get roughly 150 watts total. Just enough for the GTX 1066 GB. But let's be real, this is only a temporary solution. Long term, it's not the safest or most stable setup. A bit risky, but for now it gets the job done. After moving everything into the new case, it fits perfectly. The motherboard and the GPU look just right in this setup. Right now, the total cost of this gaming build is around $200. And honestly, for that price, it's a really solid deal. The system boots up. CPU-Z recognizes the GTX 1066 GB with no issues. Now let's see what this GPU can actually do in games. Back to Minecraft. At 8 chunks, no surprise, we're getting close to 400 FPS. Super smooth. At 32 chunks, it's a bit odd. FPS is just over 100, even slightly lower than the Quadro K1200 before. But honestly, that doesn't matter much. It still feels smooth. Now with shaders at 8 chunks, we're getting around 70 FPS, pretty stable. And yeah, this makes it clear. The GTX 1060 completely outperforms the Quadro K1200 at this level. Moving on to CS2. At low settings, we're getting over 100 FPS. Super responsive, very smooth, no drops. Medium settings, FPS drops a bit, but still stays around 100. There are a few dips to around 40 during heavy fights, but nothing too serious. Overall, still a great experience. And finally, Cyberpunk 2077. This time we can actually play it properly. At low settings, the GTX 1060 holds a stable 60 FPS. That's seriously impressive for a 10-year-old GPU. Overall, the gaming experience is way better compared to the Quadro. After this second upgrade and all the testing, the results are pretty clear. The GTX 1066GB now pairs really well with the Xeon E3-1 241V3. No more bottleneck like before. Everything feels balanced. You can comfortably play Minecraft with shaders, Cyberpunk, and most popular games at 1080p with the right settings. So to wrap it all up, starting from an old office PC and a bunch of carefully chosen used parts, for just around $200, we've turned it into a real gaming PC. So what about you? Do you have an old PC sitting around? And if you do, how would you upgrade it? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your ideas. And for now, I'm Spec Tech, and I'll see you in the next video.